Ladies and gentlemen, it all comes down to this. You've heard the silver scrapes. You've seen how these teams have toiled in these past 3 months. Two will go into the arena. Only one will come out. I don't know who it is. All I know is that it will be a Malphite. Before we go deeper into the matchup, first off, we have to thank our sponsors once more for staying with us this entire postseason. CTPC and Caliber, thank you once again for making the PCS possible. Now, Nightstar, are you ready as we have our first Game 5 of the entire PCS playoffs?
And who would have thought at the start of this series where you're talking about, hey, it's about these mid lane champions. Maybe it's about the bot lane matchup. No, it's about R5 Malphite at the very end of it all. We'll see if that becomes a point of contention here in this fifth and final game. But I mean, I think both teams, they understand why this Malphite is working, and perhaps they just draft accordingly to prevent this Malphite from coming out.
And I do want to say the J team has taken the red side as they have lost the game 4. And we all know what that means. They were the one that started this trend of R5 Malphite as they did in game 3. Now they could be back to it, or they could change up their strategy. I'm really interested to see if someone's going to actually take the Malphite a little bit earlier than expected. Beyond Gaming, interestingly enough, going to ban away the Nautilus themselves, but also taking away the LeBlanc, and J-Team keeping to the same bans on the red side throughout this entire series.
Yeah, for Beyond Gaming, the Nautilus pick, it really is a bit of a focus here because of, hey, they don't want Enzo to have his most comfortable champion. So on red side, they take it away. On blue side, they ban it away. And it will be first pick Lee Sin coming in from Beyond Gaming in this last game. J-Team, they aren't really changing anything up. They still go back towards this Ahri pick. Now it's just a matter of what they follow up with. It will be the Aphelios here. So last game, Lil V gets his hands on the Aphelios. Even in their previous Aphelios game, it felt like he still wasn't quite up to snuff with his lane phase.
But it is a game where they did win in the end, and it is a hyper carry. So, if they lose a laning phase, they still have something to look forward to. Beyond Gaming, I've been talking up this pick for the entire time, but no, they actually completely swerve off my narrative track and run into a Vigar. I'm not sure what to feel about this.
This has been a very different approach from really all the champions BYG has picked, all split. While the Veigar pick plays very well into Ahri because you throw the cage down on top of the Ahri and she is never able to use any of her dashes. At the same time, it's still not a champion that can really influence the lane. You don't get priority very easily. You don't rotate over to the side lanes very aggressively either. So it is a little bit curious on this Veigar pick, but overall, compositionally, it makes sense with the Jinx. It's just a matter of how does Minji pilot it.
All right, we'll see how this Vigar does go out. There's a small possibility it could go into other roles as well, maybe, perhaps. We have seen some support Vigars across the globe here, but on the side for J-Team, they are sticking to the reset strategy, going for Kongria's best champion in the Viego himself, and also making sure that to take away options for protecting Wako and his hyper carry. They're gonna take the Tahm Kench off the board and also ban this Gnar that's potentially open here. On the other side for Beyond Gaming, they're taking away the Aatrox. Will the Malphite hit the deck as well? That's kind of the big question for me here.
Yeah, the Aatrox denial signifies to me that Beyond Gaming are considering a tank in the top lane, whether it's going to be the Scion, the Malphite, maybe the Ornn pickup here. So it's going to be a much different approach coming in from Beyond this time around. And for J-Team, I think they also understand that, hey, if you're going to ban away those tank busters up in the top side, that also enables us to play a tank as well. At the moment, though, the current hover onto Blitzcrank doesn't make a ton of sense here.
Mm.
And yes, indeed, it will be tanks galore, Ornn, Gragas, top lane. We're taking a very safe approach to game number 5.
The trump card finally comes out, Beyond Gaming with a hyper carry team fight composition. It's been a while since they came back to this comp, but I think throughout this series, they finally figured out the winning composition. You need good damage, you need damage all the way through the late game, and you need a front line. So Beyond Gaming have packed all of that in, while J-Team, I think, are coming in with a more team fight focused approach as well. We got the Yuumi from Enso. I believe this is his debut on the champion, hyper carry from Aphelios, and then also running a tank in Driver.
Yeah, and we hyped up about all, the cool mobility champions that we saw, a lot of carry style champions from a lot of these players throughout the series, and in the end it's just going to boil down to 5v5s. It makes a lot of sense, right, Clement? Because it's a 5-game series. You also have to factor in the fatigue. You aren't able to execute on those millisecond plays as easily when it comes to 5 games. So teams just relying upon, hey, we'll set up these static compositions, but very reliable compositions.
Exactly, and I feel like both teams still got a little bit of what they wanted here. As we've been saying, Wako probably the best performer for Beyond Gaming throughout the entirety of playoffs, and on the other side we have a decidedly winning combination coming in from the Ahri and the Viego earlier on. So both of these teams have exactly what they want to play over, but in my view, I feel like Beyond Gaming does have the better scaling. You have infinite scaling with essentially the Veigar, the ornaments coming in, and also Jinx is just better than Aphelios when it comes to that super late game. So I see more of a mid-game spike coming in from J-Team and more of a hyper late game spike for the side of Beyond Gaming. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, for J-Team, it's about more of that mid-game, right? Because of the Aphelios, he's going to get outranged, and it's very difficult for him to navigate the Veigar cage as well. So, headed into the last game of this series, Beyond Gaming, with a lot of scaling. You also have to factor in those ornaments towards the late game as well. And J-Team getting trademark champions, though, right? Kongria gets his Viego, and Lil V, his trademark champion of this split so far, has been the Aphelios.
Now, I do want to ask you a little bit about these lanes, because I'll be honest, I don't think I've seen a Renata versus Yuumi lane. What's going to happen here in the bot? Can you illuminate for us how you think this 2v2 is going to go?
I don't think it plays out very well for the Yuumi, because the early levels coming in from a Guardian Renata as well, very, very dominating in lane. And when you only have to focus on hooking one target, if you get the handshake, it's very easy to hold on to the handshake, allow the Jinx traps to come out, and yoink them straight into that. So it's very easy to chain CC a target, and this is exactly what Wako and Kino have been playing towards the entire series, right? It's about dominating the 2v2.
Yeah, exactly. We have seen twice already Beyond Gaming able to get just straight up 2v2 kills in the early game, and now we have both junglers moving down to this lane, so it looks like things might be starting up fairly early on. We do have old topside starts for both, and we have them heading down slightly. On the other lanes, don't expect much to really happen here in the top. Wet noodle fight for sure, but Driver does find the early level 2, goes in for some grasp procs, does have the extra sustain, and wow, that's a great 300 plus HP trade coming in from Driver. Very well done.
Yeah, also has, of course, the Doran's Ring, so packing a little extra punch. And one of the other things is Liang, he's gone for the refillable potion start here because he wants to farm up that extra gold and then purchase the Doran Shield. If he goes Doran Shield and potion, then he isn't able to buy sustain later on in the lane. So he gives up, that level 1 pressure, but overall, it's more of a greedy approach to this lane.
Yep, is just kept underneath this tower. Will lose quite a bit here, but ooh, gets a great no trade back from Driver on this one. And it seems like he will be fine for the time being at the very least. Kongrye trying to poke into the river.
Possible
It's
dive
not going to get
attempt bot
spotted.
side.
Yeah, we do have Lee Sin moving up there, but he's going to get spotted right off the bat here. So we'll see if they still opt in for this one. I'm not sure they know where Viego is on the map, and it looks like Lee Sin actually walks back, and now the dive goes the other way. Liang is fairly low, but he also has a chance to avoid crowd control. Let's see how they play this one out. Driver still trying to push the wave in, and he's out of mana, so I think this one's going to be pretty hard to pull off, but with Ari into the mix, things could change. Viego's going back. He does have his TP, but it might be all too late. Let's see how J-Team play this. They show Kongrye Unstoppable already used by Liang. He has nowhere to go, but he gets the knock up onto Kongrye. Driver nearly falls down. Uniboy going to take a tower shot. He gets out, and first blood to J-Team. Clean escape.
And Minji also has to expend the teleport. Yes, he was going back to lane regardless, so it's not too consequential for him in particular, but it certainly is a bit of a misunderstanding of what J-Team could do in that moment. Liang ends up dropping, and first blood goes into the hands of J-Team. Great start for them, as it also goes into the hands of Uniboy. So in a bit of a counter matchup against the Veigar, getting that extra 300 gold advantage is going to help out considerably.
For sure, and I have to heap praise onto Uniboy throughout this series. Every single game, he's had a good start. The last game as well, he started at 3-0-2, I believe, with the Medjais to snowball into the middle of the game. He's been the most consistent factor on the side of J-Team. And I really want to, I honestly want to see him have a game where he's able to snowball that lead from start to finish. That has been a little bit lacking this series, to be completely honest. I think we saw a bit in the Syndra one and the LeBlanc game, but not the further one. So see what Uniboy can do right here. Minji doesn't really have that much of a great time against the Ahri. And I do want to point out that he does have the Predator on this back. So we could be seeing some roaming coming in from the mid lane, especially if Husha is willing to help him out here. Driver taking a bad trade in the top side. We do have a bit of damage being put down here by Kino. So let's see if Beyond Gaming decide to start this one up directly. They are in a lot of pressure though, so you can just get the vision and back out.
Yeah, and Liang could look for a trade. He's level 6!
That's level 6. In comes the trade. He gets the knockup. That's the auto attack, but Driver's not falling down just yet. The last tick of the Bellows Breath does secure the kill. So 1-1 apiece. Liang gets his revenge, and that's also going to prompt some fights to start in the bottom side here. Viego does have the inside track, and he is, I believe, spotted out here. So not much going to happen here on the side of JT.
Yeah, Minji though, out of mana, so he can't, it's going to be difficult for Beyond Gaming to start off that dragon, and that's why they actually go ahead back off of that objective, knowing that Ahri will be able to answer that fight. And on the flip side, Minji wouldn't be able to, as he's stuck under tower with not a lot of blue resources given to him at the moment. So Kongrye will be the one to start out the objective, and now we get to see the replay. Liang plays this fight perfectly, sees that last minion is about to die. That's when he looks for this trade, and he just plays it to a T. Right when level 6 comes through, boom, goes in, initiates it, and then a very quick skill up onto that ultimate, which allows him to finish off this kill. Perfect read of the situation, and of course, remember, Ornn does have percent max health damage, so he can do a fair amount of damage in these tank v tank matchups.
Just so well played, you know, getting the W on the body slam, the E, sorry, on the body slam, and then just following up with the flash. Last tick of Bellows Breath to finish things off. Beautiful start coming in on the side of Liang. So we do have a state where I feel like both sides are fairly equal, and I think JT do need to find something in this mid jungle. This is, I think the first Herald fight is going to be very important for a team that has to spike in the mid game coming into this one. So do you want to have you walk us over like how you see that fight starting up, what would be an advantageous situation for J-Team? Are they willing to just move members from the bot lane first to get the 5v5 going?
Yeah, I think it comes down to Uniboy being able to try and create some map pressure. And I mean, if Beyond Gaming do opt for it, they will be the second ones on the play, right? Because Veigar isn't able to get shoved against this Ahri pick. And as a result, you see Beyond Gaming, they just go, yeah, we understand. We get it. Your Ahri is really strong at the moment. So we'll just go ahead, concede that extra space, and instead we'll deny away the Ahri's blue buff. So I like the spike coming out from the side of Beyond Gaming. Maybe able to hold on to the blue buff and save it for Minji. That would be a really big buff for them to secure, but they will go ahead, concede that over. In Kino, I mean, he walks up to get his support stacks onto that tower, but now it will be a reset to allow Wako to get his own item purchase, and he's in a pretty comfortable spot again in this fifth and final game, really setting himself up to carry.
And both of these AD carries in pretty good position right here, and we even have Lil V with a bit of a CS lead so far. Just taking stock of the situation, I feel like Beyond Gaming, they're pretty much used to paying the Minji tax. Like, the first Herald is, we'll try and see if they mess up, but if not, it usually does go to the opposing mid laner. Beyond Gaming not too completely upset about that one. But this first Herald drop could change things up quite a bit. There are CC chains that can be played here, and so does have level 6, so Final Chapter is online. The crowd control potential here is massive. We'll see if they where they actually decide to use this Herald. Beyond Gaming already with one plate. That's going to be the second one, so despite the CS deficit, they should be ahead in this lane.
Still holding their own here. But the big thing to note of is that Wako is missing tier 1 boots, so it doesn't have that extra move speed, and that can make him an easy target for the next gank. You have the mobility coming in from Ahri. You also have the extra move speed coming in on the hard path from Viego. So there's definitely a big opportunity here for J-Team to attack this bottom side. As you can clearly see, they get mid lane priority and look to try and strip away some of the vision down in this river area to set, Beyond Gaming a little bit of uneasiness in approaching the tower.
Uniboy also has that mythic completed over Minji with a much more defensive build coming in with the Merc Treads first. We are getting J-Team starting to establish vision across this Drake. First one will be a Mountain Drake here. As both teams start to poke their heads into this area of the map, we have a very high chance of a collision happening here. Minji dropping the wards down, making sure he dots out everything. And so far, both of these teams have played incredibly safe, incredibly smart, have avoided everything. And now Beyond Gaming are coming in for a chance at this one. A very early Herald drop down by Kongyue. They have to defend this now to get value. Kind of interested about this. I feel like he actually accidentally placed it. Yeah, he definitely accidentally placed that Herald.
Yeah, Driver looking for opportunity.
Oh, there goes the final chapter. They managed to catch two. There goes the reset. But they get the Viego back in turn. J-Team do have a numbers advantage, but at the meantime, Charm goes down anyway, and they're getting multiple kills. Resets down for Uniboy, and he picks up all the remaining members. Beyond Gaming wanted to hold a 4v5, and they get caught out. J-Team with a massive win. And now Wako is left to try and equalize the play here on the bottom side. Can he actually do it? TP coming down from the side of Driver. He's not going to be able to take this tower down, but neither is Little V. We're going to watch this again. It started out kind of wonky.
Yeah, it ends up being a great cast, but it lands on the front line. However, the front line isn't as tanky as you'd hope for at the moment. So the CC lockdown coming in from the Everfrost, leading into then the final chapter is just way too much for the side of Beyond Gaming to deal with. So J-Team, they find the perfect team fight there. at least from their CC chaining, and it just leads to a giant snowball. All of a sudden, they are out to a 1,200 gold lead. Yes, you find still a lot of gold onto this Jinx, and it offers you that win condition. But when we outlined J-Team's win condition, it was about being able to kind of come into the mid game with the gold lead and really try and blow the top off this game. And while the gold lead isn't there yet, it does look
flashing coming in from Minji. It will be a flash trade on either side. A very interesting use of this one, as they might just walk into Kongyue. Better CC chain, and Husha falls down. One turret shot taken, but that's not enough to get the return kill. Meanwhile, Driver looking for his own solo. Liang going to pop his ultimate. He doesn't get the second proc, and J-Team are winning across all 3 lanes. Top lane gets a trade, bot lane gets a kill. J-Team blow this game open.
We talk about blowing the top off of this game, and so far it's looking at J-Team live up to expectation with this composition. And I mean, this bot lane gank that, or this bot lane kill that ends up happening, it's just a 2v1, you know? There's nothing really impressive about it. It's Wako coming up into the lane without his support, and the support gap is just, it's just there. Oh, Kino's actually there for this fight, which, okay, that makes it probably even worse, but handshake misses, and Lil V just feels really empowered to step up. And Crescendo, so much extra damage means that you just blast the Jinx in the face.
Very easy kill here, and if you look at Enzo, he's getting massive. That's a mythic already completed. Yeah. Lots of sustain right here. Yeah, this is the J-Team we expected to see, the lane-dominant J-Team, and once again, Uniboy is pretty happy. He's not going to go for Majai's this time. I think he's learned his lesson about how finicky these series can be. Going to go for the Zanyas right away, and they're going to start on this second Herald fight. They're up 5 kills, about 4,000 gold, and doesn't look like Beyond Gaming can even contest.
Yeah, and I think it's also about the game 5, right? Driver, he's going to not take a whole lot of damage from this one item Jinx. Yes, it's a pretty good paced mythic, but at the same time, you're not too worried about it when you have your own completed tank mythic. It's just a much bigger difference at this point in time. But J-Team really pressuring 2 lanes, whereas Beyond Gaming are only playing through 1.
Yeah, only the bot lane so far having agency for Beyond Gaming. In the flip side, J-Team able to take down 2 towers plus drop a Herald. Once again, Leon's going to find it difficult to defend against this one. He will clear out the wave here, gets hit by the charm, but will take down the Herald in the very end. And J-Team, I think their objectives are online. They have that mid-game edge they were looking for. Now it's about cashing it out and making sure Beyond Gaming can't come back with the late game. We do have an Ocean Drake here, and J-Team already have a double stack, so they can force Beyond Gaming to walk into these fights over and over again.
Yeah, and for Beyond Gaming, it's so important for them to find one of these next 2 dragons, because then it buys them enough time to get to those scaling breakpoints. But Kino just trying to be as annoying as possible here, delay the backs as long as possible. There is only 1 minute until this Ocean Dragon. At the same time, I think if you do get to late game, the Ocean Dragon doesn't mean as much for J-Team as it did in the previous game for Beyond Gaming, right? After they secure that, they have the additional regen to deal with some of the poke. In this game, you have the extended DPS coming in from a Jinx and a Veigar to burst through and really invalidate the healing coming in from Ocean. But again, they have to be able to buy time for that scaling to actually come online.
Oh, here is
Wako
J-Team's opportunity to try and catch out Wako. They put some damage on him, but nothing decisive enough, and this is the big Drake fight that we're all talking about. As you mentioned, Beyond Gaming, they are in a pretty big deficit, so there is some logic to letting things go and not giving J-Team their win condition, but they're definitely going to make an attempt here. Let's see how they position as J-Team are the ones charging up onto the ramp.
Oh,
we have a
big.
stun down onto Uniboy, and he's just gone! Viger
Massive.
deletes him from the game! J-Team, they walk up onto
Lil
this
V.
one. Wako stays alive. Lots of damage from Little V, but they're staying
That's the
alive
first
for
reset.
now. The chase down might still be coming in, though. Event Horizon goes down. Driver with the knockup
That's a
finds
second.
two. They get Renata. Minji now has to run away. He knows he's a dead man. Walks back into the team fight, and that's another kill for Aphelios. It started out strong for Beyond Gaming, but J-Team come roaring back with the counter
Kongrye on the
punch.
flank.
And now Kongrye is gonna find the burst damage. He takes down the Ord, and he's going for more. This is the best Viego play we've seen. He's gonna go in, but Wako still staying around.
Can he
Two
get the
more
shutdown?
auto attacks. He gets the zoomies, and he's going to get out alive.
Oh, teleport in. This is only 19 minutes into the game. They're already bringing in that mid teleport coming in from Uniboy. They smell blood in the water. They're going to take that second tier 2 in the mid lane, and now they rotate over for their third dragon. That's going to push them onto Soul Point, but Beyond Gaming, they still want to fight for this objective.
Oh, this is gonna come down to
Another
the
teleport.
wire. Midgie trying to dodge around. The Drake
going
does
for the
go
fight.
over to J-Team. Beyond Gaming trying to pick up the kills right here. They find Driver, the tank, and it looks
Sacrifice.
like he will be the sacrificial lamb, but can Beyond Gaming get more? It's not really completely
It's not
worthwhile.
time.
Yeah, for what they've thrown out here. They're looking for the mid lane tower, but Uniboy is there to defend, and he packs a lot of damage, so doubt if they can find even more off of this one. There's only one person here, so they will get the objective as well. Pretty good play by Beyond Gaming, all said and done, as they do get the objective bounty and bring this in to at least within 4,000 gold.
Yeah, and it started out so well, right? They find the chain CC onto Uniboy, instantly blow him up, but unfortunately, they just used too many cooldowns, and Lil V finds a perfect ultimate with the Infernum Moonlight Vigil, and it just blasts BYG to pieces. And that's where the chase is on. You, of course, have the Viego with his infinite dash potential with the ult resets, and that's just kind of how the dominoes fall. And once again, we get to see Kongrye. He chases after Liang. Liang misplays it. He dashes straight into the Event Horizon, and that leads to a reset kill. And Kongrye, unfortunately, doesn't get this final kill, but also able to stay alive to prevent the bounty gold for going on to Jinx, which is the main win condition for the side of Beyond Gaming.
Yeah, very well done there. Gets the flash at the very end from Wako, so definitely a worthwhile attempt. And I gotta say, that fight was, you forgot about me. J-Team Little V just pops out of nowhere and obliterates your team. He might be down, but he ain't out. And now we do see J-Team making a strong play for the Baron. They do have, I think, quite a decided lead, especially if you look at the sustain potential they have right now. There's still not a lot of anti-heal coming out on the side of Beyond Gaming just yet, and they're setting up for this vision advantage, slowly creeping up to enemy lines. We have a couple of members we have to pay close attention to. Driver could just bring Wako into the enemy team at a moment's notice with that explosive cask. J-Team are playing things very tight to the Baron, keeping things dark, keeping Beyond Gaming guessing. Beyond Gaming, you can see the question mark things. They're not confident on where they actually are. They're going to push the wave in before venturing in. J-Team have great opportunities to find ganks. Kongrye is going in. They find Kino stun, goes down. A lot of damage onto Driver. The ultimate is forced to get used. Berserk goes down. Driver taken down, nearly dead. But Uniboy hops in. Husha still alive for now, but he goes down. Little V gets the first kill. Uniboy gets the reset, and they're hunting for Beyond Gaming members. Minji has to flash out. Wako is going to dodge out, but just barely on the charm. That would have been the Baron for sure. J-Team don't lose a single member. They find two, and now they go for Baron.
Yeah, and it might not just be a Baron. If the side of Beyond Gaming want to try and contest, they could just easily turn for the fight with this large numbers advantage. And you can see Beyond Gaming, they understand that. So that's why they're just going to run straight mid, try and get what they can. But unfortunately, J-Team are the ones to come out massively in this trade here. They find the picks, they find the Baron, and now they are on the fast track to possibly winning this series.
What a beautiful chain of events coming in from J-Team, and I really feel like Kino is much more used to playing with tank supports. You can't really be in that position as a enchanter like Renata. Gets caught out, gets killed, and now Driver's trying to keep people isolated. Will he find an interruption? Ooh, nearly gets it, but no cigar right there. We are going to get a bit of a reset into that game. Let's see that play again, coming in from Kongyue and cutting off the team.
It was somewhat well played, as well as Kino could play that, given the fact that he did get caught out, throws out the ultimate to buy as much time. But, I mean, as a result, they used their 2 big ticket ultimates to disengage, right? They have to use the Ornn ult as well as the Renata hostile takeover. And when those 2 area control ultimates are gone, it gives you so much free reign as the Ahri and as the Aphelios to move forward aggressively with your ultimate or with the Gale Force.
This is going to be a critical fight for Beyond Gaming if they want to hold on to this series. We have Kongyue coming in, basically unkillable. He has had Yuumi support this entire time, and that's a heal and an extra exhaust. See if Uniboy can find anyone. Kongyue is going to get started up onto... Uniboy is spotted out. Husha going in, but he can't find the kickback. They're just going to take him out immediately as the fight starts. Beyond Gaming on the wrong side of the map. They're going to get charged down onto Berserk onto the ramp, but it doesn't matter. Still full HP bars on Little V. Driver now pushing in. He wants Wako and his life right here. Uniboy going to try and kite this one out. Wako with the flash, with the ultimate, but it's not enough. That's going to be 4 members down for Beyond Gaming, and J-Team want to eliminate them from the postseason. They're gonna pick up the Ocean Soul and march onto the base. The game time is still very short, so Beyond Gaming will have a chance to come back and defend this one, but if they drop anyone, that's it. That's gonna be GG here. Can they hold this?
Yeah, still 17 seconds on to Wako. They won't lose the game off of this just because there's so many structures left for J-Team to remove before the Nexus is even exposed, but it's still a very large gold swing. And the key point is the fact that Wako had to expend both of his summoners in a very losing effort. There was no chance he was going to actually be able to pull that fight out, but now Minji able to find 1 catch. Can they get an actual kill off of it? Doesn't look like it. And now the tables are turned.
Gonna get knocked back. What a find by Driver. The mid laner is dead. Uniboy comes in with the flash. Everfrost onto 2. Kino nearly being taken down. They trade the mid laner for the support, but Kongyue is still alive. He could just finish off the entire team into the back line. Wako's down. Goodbye, Husha. Now left. Double kill, and J-Team are gonna secure this one. What a massive play from the tanky front line. Driver with a statement game is gonna shut down Beyond Gaming.
Now I was going to say, look, the Ornn items are almost online, but J-Team, they smell that it's almost online, and they also smell blood in the water. It will be J-Team to secure the series 3-2 fashion, but boy, was this a series.
It was so back and forth, so many good plays from both sides, but at the end of the day, J-Team come up with a much better mid-jungle performance. Once again, Ahri getting off to the races with a 3-kill start, and this time, I think a key factor is Little V gets his redemption. He wins his lane straight up, and they snowball up to 5 takedowns into the bot lane before anything is given over to the side of Wako. This is the first time this has happened this series, and they run with it.
And you could see that what Beyond Gaming was trying to do, right? They put all their eggs into the Wako basket, but the Jinx just takes a little bit too long to get online in this particular game, and they weren't able to come up with the early game plays to slow this game down. So J-Team, they just take the bull by the horns, and they just sprinted to the finish line.
Beautiful game from J-Team. It took a while for them to figure things out, but game 5 definitely the most convincing game that we had in this series. This team will now continue their journey throughout the lower bracket. If they want to take the championship, they still have 3 best-of-5 series that they need to take down. So 9 wins is going to be their path, but they keep that hope alive. J-Team, after a disappointing start, they show that they still belong as one of the elite teams here in the PCS.
Yeah, they dropped that first game in very surprising fashion. It was such a stomp coming in from Beyond Gaming, and we thought, like, man, if they lose 0-3 against CFO, they drop this game in very quick fashion to Beyond Gaming. Like, what is the state of J-Team? This is a storied franchise. We expect a lot more out of this squad, but they responded in Game 2 and made this a very, very competitive 5-game series and eventually winning out.
Beautiful stuff from the coaching staff. Great stuff from the players here. I think the big X factor of this game really was that Vygar, but I think unfortunately we didn't get to see much out of it. There was probably one burst kill, but throughout the rest of the game, it just felt like it actually kind of an easy target to pick out for the composition of J-Team right here. Now, we are going to be saying goodbye to Beyond Gaming, and I just want to get your thoughts on their split and their postseason performance so far. Just look a bit forward into the summer split as well.
Yeah, I think at the start of the split, of course, they had that very surprising victory over PSG. But as the split went forward, it was just a big learning curve for them to play around this very different mid laner who had a completely different champion pool. And it took such a long time for them to figure out how to play with this new mid jungle play style. I felt like they dropped too many early games, and by the time they came online, when you are one of the lower seeded teams coming in to this very grueling playoff format, it is a very tough road.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Beyond Gaming are not able to continue their streak. They were in the finals both times in 2021. That will be broken. No King stands forever, and not even the Silverless is going to stand forever either. We will have a different combination this split. I'm very happy, but also sad for Beyond Gaming, as they have a lot to think about coming into the summer split. For J-Team, though, I feel like this win was also a little bit bittersweet for them. We still got pretty much the same outlook as the CFO series somewhat. Very strong mid-jungle. Bot lane, I would say pretty iffy overall. And I think I'm not certain that they can actually play teamfight, but I'm confident that, you know, if they get a 3-1 lead or something like that, they will be able to snowball to a finish.
Yeah, at the very least, we have renewed confidence in J-Team's main win condition, and that is play through mid-jungle. In the CFO series, Gemini really did a great job in shutting that down, but we finally got to see Kongria and Uniboy really come online. Uniboy especially, given the lane leads he had each and every single game, was able to perform very, very well. And it took a heroic effort coming in from Wako to pull those games back for Beyond Gaming to even get 2 games on the board.
Wako, I felt like he did such a good job, and honestly, it doesn't feel like Wako for Dago made that much of a difference for this team on Beyond Gaming. On J-Team's side, I feel like looking at the lower bracket and talking about their strengths, if you think about Frank, if you think about DCG, does either team really stand up to the mid-jungle? I feel like both matchups are so good for the side of J-Team here.
Yeah, I think when you also have to factor in Uniboy's laning prowess, especially into the DCG matchup where he should have a pretty big advantage. I think the 2v2 power is definitely in J-Team's side, but when it comes to the bot lane matchup, you know, against Frank Esports, that could come into question because K2 and M&M have been one of our more aggressive bot lanes. Maybe not to the Wako Kino level, but they could still throw a wrench in the plan, and it is going to be Driver coming out with the MVP here. really setting things up for his team time and time again. We had that Malphite performance, and then he follows up with a fantastic Grokkus performance time and time again, finding ult after ult to pick people off on the side of Beyond Gaming.
This entire regular season was just an act of misdirection. He only played fighters throughout the regular split, and in playoffs, he's like, nah, actually, I'm back to a tank main. Great performances here on the Gragas, and I really liked his build of the Sunfire there. Actually able to just bully out Liang into the top lane. Very rare these days to see that still being an item selected, but he made it work, and I feel like Driver, there was a lot of questions about, hey, Rest has gone away, Mission has gone away. Aren't the best pieces of J-Team just on other teams? And I feel like Driver was able to make his stamp and make his own flavor part of the J-Team ethos and part of their play style. So congratulations to him. A good statement game coming in from this top laner.
Yeah, and moving forward, I think Driver is going to be a key piece because we see that Uniboy, he's not necessarily going to get banned out, but the champion diversity isn't going to surprise anyone. And that also goes the same in the AD carry spot. So all your champion diversity really comes from that top lane. Even in the jungle, we see Kongyu as mainly the Lee Sin, mainly the Viego. Sprinkle in a little bit of the Diana Hecarim, and that's really his core 4 champions.
Yeah, not a lot of variations there. I will say for the bot lane for Little V, he does play Lucian though, okay? So don't talk bad about me, my bot laner there. But before we go into even more discussion, we are going to take a break and come back with another wonderful interview from Rarichu.